So 5 years ago, there was a reason why I started this movement. And the truth then is the truth now. That we need to champion our narrative. We need to champion the truth around what we do and who we are.
There's a sweet spot with a gun. Too heavy and it's a burden to walk with. Too light and you whipping it.
Why is the project so important to the hunting community?
I think it's not only important. I think it's vital. I think it's just in time.
It's like snakes and ladders. You guys are climbing the ladder, and then somebody does something stupid, and you just slide down.
That is such an amazing analogy, snakes and ladders.
Yeah.
Ivory, in my opinion, was the plastic of its age. Okay.
The expenses are going up. It goes a long way with families. We have families that do need it.
Let me close this door because I have a little wiener dog. What? Are you laughing because I said wiener?
I'm really glad you finished the sentence out. I'm sorry, I heard the first half. What are we doing here today?
You're telling the whole world.
My own voice.
You do? Do you want me to unplug you so you don't hear your voice in your ear?
No, that's all right.
No, I like the sound of my voice.
You have a beautiful voice, though.
You have a beautiful voice, too. Jeez, Joe Barrett. Beautiful pie maker. Just before we start this podcast, what's the secret of your wild boar sausage so that the world can know quickly?
Oh, I told you not to tell anyone. It's cabbage.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. This is live. No, it's amazing. Joe Barrett, welcome to the Origins Foundation podcast.
Oh.
I'm getting used to even just saying the new name.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, you're amazing.
What you do is amazing.
Jeez, dude, I've seen you, I've seen your work. I told you, I'd love to, if you'd be willing, we'd love to do the next story, Are You Game on you here in Australia.
I'm game.
Look at you. I like that. On the ball. 9 o'clock in the morning, we're at the field, the Wild Deer Expo.
Yeah,
Warragul, Victoria.
Busy.
It was packed yesterday. And the doors are about to open in 10 minutes. So if things get really hectic in our ears or the microphone, that's why the expo just opened. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Joe Barrett. I'm a chef, a hunter, fly fisher, and currently co-founder of Wild Pie. So
Ross O'Meara just walked by. Look at the shirt that he's wearing.
He's looking good.
Wild
muscly.
Origins Australia shirt. Did I give you one?
Not yet. After.
After. What size are you? Medium.
Small, medium.
Oh, I don't have a small. I'll have to post
medium.
you a small. I'll get you one. I think I've got a medium left somewhere. I think I've got one squirreled away in the vehicle.
Nice.
Have you always hunted? You grew up in Victoria?
Grew up in Victoria, didn't hunt. Actually came from a family that's pretty anti-firearms.
Wow.
So when I decided to get into hunting, definitely...
When you're growing up in the city or in the rural country or...?
Yeah, probably about 20 minutes out of Melbourne.
Okay.
And we definitely are a beach family, so holidays on the East Coast and down on the Great Ocean Road. Never, not hunting at all, more fishing.
But you weren't surrounded by people that hunted, I assume, living in 20 minutes outside of Melbourne, right?
No, and not a massive meat eater family either. And
Fish?
I'd probably, and wouldn't say an adventurous eating family. So It wasn't until around 2021 when I started really understanding the deer.
That's 5 years ago.
I know, and that's how soon my journey into hunting and wild game started.
So you were always interested, obviously, in being a chef?
Oh, I feel like I came out of my mother wanting to be a chef.
What a visual.
With a knife and a whisk.
So you wanted to be a chef, wanted to cook.
Wanted to be the connection between land and food. Knew that we grew quite a lot of food, just really early on, and then it kind of wasn't there in the middle.
But not livestock. Didn't have goats, didn't have pigs, didn't have cows, none of that.
It was
kind
just
of
like a domestic veggie patch. But early memories of that, and then going into the kitchen and understanding where food was coming from. I had a lot of questions. Boxes of chicken breasts would arrive, and I'd be like, "Where's the rest of the chicken?"
Oh, yeah.
And just the quantity of food, going from domestic household cooking into commercial cooking, it was just a lot of food, and just started to question where that was coming from, and then was really lucky. Kind of went straight from high school into the commercial kitchens, and then won a scholarship and went to Canada, and then saw.
Oh, wow.
I was cooking over there and saw snow for the first time.
I'm allergic to the white stuff.
Yeah, it's not my
good.
favourite. I left and it was probably 30 degrees around New Year's Eve, and then landed into Calgary.
Like minus 20. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, and I was 19, first time away from home. And I was like, what is this? And I kind of thought, where's the food coming from if it's snowing? And that was the probably...
Oh, good question.
Yeah, and when I started my apprenticeship, I was like, why aren't we cooking the food from here, from Australia? You know, we have all these beautiful indigenous ingredients, and I didn't quite realise at the time that was probably a profound thought in the industry. We
100%.
were flying a lot of food in from other countries, and it was all molecular gastronomy.
Yeah.
And I was like, but what about here? And that was probably the start of those thoughts. And then it was throughout my career that I started meeting the right people who also had those thoughts and realised that it is possible to cook like that. So I started working in zero waste restaurants with Joost Bakker and Matt Stone, who...
And are those two individuals working with wild game ingredients?
No, it was still more about origin of food, where it's coming from, but there still wasn't the access to probably wild game. We just didn't have that at the time. I think kangaroo, yes.
Sure.
But I remember putting kangaroo...
That would be pretty much the only thing that would be accessible, right?
Yeah, and that was around 2012, 2014, and I remember we put kangaroo on the menu and we had a heap of backlash. And especially from...
Well, do you remember what the backlash was specifically?
At that time it was from Indigenous people, which was really interesting.
Okay.
And
You're not allowed to eat it? Or
it was an Indigenous ingredient at the time, like it was seen like that, and it was probably one specific group, and then people just weren't really interested in it, and it was kind of at the height of kangaroo coming into the hospitality scene, people starting to use it and understanding, and then the market collapsed a bit and the demand dropped, which is what we see at the moment.
Sure. But you've got millions and millions and millions of kangaroo.
And millions, 1.5 million get killed, culled every year. We're only eating probably 20% of that.
Wow. Wow.
It's a lot of protein.
So you're obviously on this gastronomic journey. What sort of gets you to the point where you're like, oh, I see a deer and I see that as potentially food?
I guess it started... when I heard about we were killing animals and leaving them, like population management.
Oh, the Victorian government helicopter culling.
And then I thought, oh, we have deer in Australia. I was one of those people.
Were you still living in Melbourne, close
still
to Melbourne?
In Melbourne. And then we started a project in Fed Square called Future Food System, which was a house that grew all its own food and sustained its inhabitants. And it was a really profound project.
Sounds like a little cult.
It was really cool. We have a documentary.
So what's it called?
Greenhouse by Joost.
Greenhouse by Joost. And Joost is that chef?
Joost Bakker. He's an environmental activist. So I'd always worked with either growing food, local foods in particular, and food system, how they work with circular systems. And that project was really interesting. And it was around the same time I got into fly fishing. So I was fly fishing a lot, and COVID was on, and I met Billy Staunton. He started Discovered Wild Foods and had worked, he was a hunter and had worked a lot in wild game harvesting. Okay. And met him in 2020, and he brought to my attention what was happening with the deer. And then I'm a deep dive kind of person. So I started to deep dive into...
And let me, at that point in time, if you can sort of push back your recollections, do you have an opinion? Do you even know that people hunt? Do you even know that people eat deer? Do you have a perception of that framework?
At that
or
time,
you just sort of like the general public that we'd love to talk to, which is, I don't really have an opinion. I don't even know what it's about.
Yeah, my opinion at that point was I'm scared of firearms, and hunting has always seemed to be a pretty bogan activity in Australia.
Explain what a bogan is, because most of the people listening don't know what a bogan is.
I always forget that that's an Aussie thing.
Redneck.
A redneck.
Yeah.
You know, they go out hunting, they're just killing things, drinking, leaving rubbish in the forest, in the bush. That was pretty much my opinion.
Yep.
And then at the same time, I have a friend, Mark LeBroy, who we had always gone fishing and diving together. And he had gotten a bow and was hunting, and I knew he was hunting. And he's not a bogan, but a little bit of a bogan, swears a lot. And he was my first introduction into someone who was hunting but obviously really cared about food because he was a chef. And then I met Billy, and he was someone who really cared about food and deer. My background was I hated food waste, as most people do. And so I started to find out, I was like, why are we killing them and not using them? That's protein. And then that was kind of the start. I went on a hunt up in the Hunter Valley.
So who invited you for your first hunt?
The guys at Broadside.
Oh, nice. You went with Eamon.
Yeah, and that was my first...
Eamon Waddington, yeah.
Yeah, and that was my first hunt. The roar up, so it was the rut. And I remember...
Had you ever heard a stag roar?
No.
Before that?
And there was one point we were walking across a valley. We're at the backside of a valley coming into another one, and I could hear this grunting and roaring. And I remember getting goosebumps, thinking, is that a monster?
Yeah, yeah.
It was... And the
it's almost
energy.
like when people get goosebumps like that, and I get goosebumps for you right now, I think it's triggering something super primal within you. Like, that's why, we called ourselves Blood Origins. Actually, before we were Blood Origins, it was called In the Blood. And it's because it's this thing that is like just seated somewhere primordially inside you. Everybody here. You take anybody, the die-hardest vegan, you put them in the bush for 4 days, something changes.
Yeah. And
why does it change? Like, it's because it's instinct. Like, animals have instincts. We have instincts too. We just don't listen to them, or we don't have to use them anymore because we're never put in that scenario to be like, holy shit, okay, now I have to do something.
Yeah, you're meant to be
But I know how
out
to
there.
do it. I know how to do it. Somehow I do.
It was like
people don't just curl up and die, right? They're just like, okay, I need to go do this. I need to build something. I need to break something. I need to sharpen something.
Protect or harvest.
How do you know that? Well, that's just like innately. You're like, okay, I need to probably stab something to kill it so I can eat.
Yeah, it was like that. So I was with this. It was all men actually, and got there.
Weren't worried about that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Look at my muscles.
From carrying all the pies everywhere. Exactly.
And because I'd always worked, I've got brothers and always worked in male kitchens, so that never worried me. But getting there and having discussions with all of these guys in their camo gear with bows and firearms, and we sat down to dinner and everyone was speaking about conservation and food, and it was so the opposite of what I thought around shooting anything. It was all around, I'm going to shoot that animal because it's the right age and it's what I'm looking for. And then we got a deer, we came back, we broke it all down, and then we cooked it for everyone. And
what was that like when you first, you pulled the trigger on that deer?
No, it wasn't me, it was Mark.
Okay.
But I had been obviously around butchery, we'd done whole animal butchery.
Had you been around a carcass with skin on?
Yes, I'd seen it, but I'd never gone from the whole animal to cooking it all to serving it to people at one time.
Had you been at a carcass that was warm still?
Yes, yeah. I wanted to be a butcher when I first started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it was never the meat side of it. It was more the searching for the animal, the harvesting, and then the serving. I'd never done that part. I had been at farms where we'd slaughtered an animal.
Okay.
But it was so different going out and trying to find it. It seemed fair. And then we used every part of the animal. And I came away, and then watching how all the guys interacted, it wasn't talking about women or all these things I had just assumed. It was actually a chance for everyone to talk about their families or things. And I was like, every person needs to experience this moment. And that was probably the point where it changed. And shortly after that, I got a bow. And then have had just the most incredible experiences with hunting.
This is, now again, just to remind everyone, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
This is 2025, 2020, 2021, right?
Yeah.
And I overheard you in the kitchen talking about I've got this big red stag on the property, I can go.
Because then once you spend a lot of time in nature, then you understand that experience is quite rare, seeing things like that. Seeing an animal, you're sitting there and it walks past you and it has no idea that you're there. That's really, for me, quite a special experience. Or seeing a little fawn not know what you are and run up to you. I had that happen and I was like, you are nature. that's all
Yeah,
these.
you're a part of it,
Yeah, and
not a part.
yeah, and what we had tried to do with Future Food System, what I tried to work with in food, trying to explain that we are a part of a food system. When you're a hunter and you're sitting in nature, it's really evident that you are a part of an ecosystem. And so it had just reaffirmed all the things I'd done in cooking before. And considering I'd mainly worked in vegetables, I had also probably been a vegetarian for a while there.
Okay.
And now that I work in meat is really funny. However, I've never felt more connected to the environment and to the food system. And I'm really lucky to get to work on some really interesting things with food systems and what's happening in the Australian food system. Get a real insight into that. And what we're doing at Discovered Wild Foods and with Wild Pie, I can show that, we're kind of proving what is possible in a food system. Even if you are farming or you're harvesting food, we are taking it from the wild and serving it to people the hardest possible way.
And you were talking about it last night, and I made a reference to almost like oyster tagging. You're at a point now where we're going to eat a wild boar sausage roll, which, by the way, is the best sausage roll I've ever had in my life.
Oh, thank you.
We won't get the secret away of why it's the most amazing wild boar sausage. But you could legitimately tell me through your traceability where that animal came from.
Yeah, with the Samba deer. So we have Discovered Wild Foods, who are a wild deer harvesting company. We also do kangaroos and goat, but mainly we work with Samba deer. And yeah, we could tell you from the shooter to the
catchment, the watershed.
Yep, the region, the processing plant we have in How Long. From that to it gets transported to our facility in Beechworth, where it gets boned, butchered, value added into meals or our pies, and then we could point the pie to who shot that and where it came from.
Has anybody done this in Australia before? Like, has anybody pushed like this wild use, dare I say wild use, this use of wild game?
There's Anthony, who I know you've
Anthony
spoken
Rowe,
to, from Dharma, but I don't think on the scale that we're doing it.
Is it a regulation issue that's stopping people doing this? I know Aussie obviously has a lot of rules and
yeah, we
regulations.
do, especially in Victoria. I think it's hard. It's more so it's hard, and I think more so now what we're doing with the facility where we can value add, and we are getting deer to people. We have a meat box subscription.
Okay.
Where it is 1/4 of a deer, and it is made up of bone, broth. So we're using every part, and we've calculated 1/4 from steaks, burgers, sausages, value-added meals, a pie, a lasagna.
Wow.
For the same price, if not less, than you would for a box meat from another butcher of just steaks.
Wow.
And we have zero waste in our business.
How are you not overwhelmed then by demand?
Because of the perception of deer, I think, in Australia. And also, in the last 12 months, I think the business has grown a lot. Obviously, we started Wild Pie in that 12-month period, and it's very much a customer-facing. The pie was just a vessel to say, hey, we can have deer in a pie, and you won't even know.
And you'd love it.
Because I think...
Wild pig, I think even wild pig has a worse connotation than deer.
Yeah.
Like dirty, stinky, no way are we going to touch that and eat it. We're just going to leave it in the field.
Yeah, and so we kind of think of the pie as a bit of a gateway drug. So you try the pie
that.
And go, ooh, I can eat venison, and then maybe go, I might cook a piece of venison. Because it is different to cooking a piece of beef, and that's probably been the boundary of entry. So we're
find a lot of people that ask you, like, I'm interested, but I don't even know how to cook it.
Even yesterday, doing the cooking demo and cooking venison rump to hunters who cook venison and eat venison, still coming up and asking the questions that someone who's never cooked venison would ask. So it's definitely an education thing around cooking, and it's the same thing that I see in the food system, where we're saying to people, cook more, eat more sustainably, eat whole foods. But if you get a vegetable box from a farmer and it's got like 2 carrots, an onion, one celery, people don't know how to cook it all and how to plan their menu if they're not sure what's in their box.
Right.
The same. It's all coming back to cooking skills.
Yeah.
And you can see with what Wild Deer Expo are doing with what they're trying to do with making it a bit more food focused.
Yeah.
Food is the thing that will connect us all.
100%. I think food is the narrative here in Australia. May not be the narrative all over the world, but specifically because you have an abundant resource, deer, goat, pigs, camels, donkeys, name it. There's still lots more to name. Rabbits. There's just an enormous amount of resource on the landscape. Like crazy amount. To the people in Australia, to the resource, and then you put kangaroos on top of that. Put wallabies on top of that. My mantra is nobody in Australia should ever be hungry.
Yeah.
There should be freezers full of frozen meat everywhere that you can just go and get.
Yeah, no one should be hungry at all with the amount of protein Australia has.
Yep.
So I think it's coming down to the effort to get the deer or whichever animal. It's really easy to shoot, but the hard part comes from recovering and then, all the food safety that we have and then the processing. So I think that's what we figured out a little bit with Discovered and Wild Pie. We have this middle thing where we're being able to process and make it really convenient for the consumer, and farmers are having the same issue as well. They are able to grow the animal, but there's this expectation that they're able to then get that beef or the lamb or whatever they're growing to the consumer. But how do they do that? They're meant to be the farmer. So, and I think we put a lot of onus on consumers to be like, hey, you should eat this, and then they go and try and find it and they don't know how to. So it's the middle bit that's missing, and I think that's what we're trying to break down.
Yeah, I think that, again, going back to the food narrative being the narrative that will sell hunting more in Australia, I think you've got this gradient where you've got the bogan who likes to barbecue in its backyard, right? The classic put a shrimp on the barbie kind of thing that venison fits very, very well with, all the way through to Michelin star restaurants that are being served or are getting venison from a Discovered, from an Anthony Rowe, that are serving it in their restaurants. And I guarantee you that people are eating venison in their restaurants and going, this is the most amazing thing in the world, but have absolutely no idea about populations, about how things are being done, like what affected you, like the culling operations, where it's coming from, what is the resource, everything about it.
What's really interesting, because I was watching someone eat a dim sim from another stall yesterday.
Oh, how dare they?
And I thought, what are you doing? And I was like, I wonder if that person even thought about what's in it. And fair, they shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
However, if they're not even thinking about what meat that is, why not just we go around, kill them all, make dim sims, like speak to that dimmy company. We put all the venison in
100%.
Wild boar. They're still going to eat it.
Dude, can you imagine? There should be a freaking frozen dim sum packet labeled like wild boar dim sums or whatever, kangaroo dim sums or whatever it is. Call it whatever, camel dim sums, I don't know.
Don't even label it.
And it should be just freaking, exactly, don't label it. And just have it frozen. It should be a frozen commodity in every single Coles, Target, throughout Australia.
Yeah. If you think about how many wild pigs we have and the fact that we import pork into Australia.
That's crazy. My kids love wild pig. Like my kids earlier when they were younger, we used to make the ribs of wild pigs out of Texas. They're corn fed, so they're really, really good with a huge fat cap. Like the pork chops that come off of Texas pigs have like a fat cap of like half an inch on them. Wow. It's unbelievable. And yes, I can make a French cut pork roast. It was really
nice.
not pork roast. I'm messing up my terminology. Of a lamb chop, so it is the you have to have the rib and whatnot. But no, then we'll just cook the ribs just like typical pork ribs that you buy in a grocery store. And my kids would make they call it a rib graveyard. So it would just be the bones just like all piled up together.
It's so sweet. They're all the things, even comparing all the different types of deer we have in Australia and how they all taste different. People don't even know. It's like cows. You have a Jersey or an Angus or, venison's the same, which is really cool. That's what I like about it. I think judging from the feedback we get with any questions, a lot of it has been around how do you manage parasites?
Yeah.
But we don't I'm sure that we have that somewhere, but we don't have that in any of our populations, and it's probably more rigorously monitored than.
100%.
So
all the certifications, all of the stamping that needs to happen. Again, you guys it's a rule state in an Aussie, right? And when it comes to food, it's like
another level
of rules and regulations associated with you.
So every single animal gets inspected.
Yep.
Whereas, in an abattoir, you get a kind of pre-mortem, post-mortem look. Yeah. We're lucky with our food safety in Australia, but I can tell you there's still things that happen. And if you're looking for nutrient density in your food, an animal that's going and eating the thing that it's missing in its diet because it just knows instinctually, and then we harvest that animal, and you're going to get all the vitamins and minerals and proteins and amino acids from that. That's what I want to be eating.
Have you had anybody push back on you?
Not since.
It's amazing, huh?
Change.
It's amazing. That's what I would have guessed. I would have guessed that you've received nothing.
No. Do you know when we launched, we got emails saying, "Would you like to come and hunt on my property?" And I thought, as a hunter, I was like, look at all this access.
Yes, that's what I did. I built this wild pie company to get more access for my hunting.
So that has been probably the really big change that I've noticed. People are really about it and really encouraging, and the stories that are coming through of I grew up hunting deer, or my father, or my brothers, they grew up hunting, and it's been a part of our lives. And to look at it now, it is a big change.
What does your family say? Because obviously they weren't hunters, they weren't big firearm owners. What does mom and dad say now?
They're so about it.
Really?
Yeah. They still don't like firearms. Understand, and I can see how the public don't want people.
Well, they're afraid, right? Again, Australia is a country that has been built on a very, very strict, anti-gun rhetoric, based on history and tragedies that have happened here. And I get it. I get people being afraid of it. They don't know it. Obviously, things that you don't know of that have the ability to kill. And you should be afraid of them.
I think so, but it's been amazing because I almost use them as a bit of an identifier of what's happening in the general public, and to see if I can alter their conception, understanding of what's happening, and then just with a bit of education. And now, I took one of those quarter beef boxes down to my dad, and he was like, "This is incredible." He cooked his first venison rump steak the other day, and he's like, "I loved it."
Amazing.
Hardly cooks meat at all, and then to go and cook venison.
Yeah, you said not a meat family.
And then to hear them talk to their friends and family about what's happening. So, yeah, it's really, really cool to see the change. I never thought it would happen in my family, but it has.
That's cool. Well, I know we're at 26 minutes. I know you said, Robbie, you got to cut me off at 30 because you got pies to pull out of the oven. What's next? What is Wild Pie doing next? How do you get into every Coles and Target and whatnot?
Yeah, understanding what are the barriers, and I think that's work that we do with local food systems as well, understanding that for small-scale farming producers, they're all the big questions that everybody's asking. And, we're a small business, so learning how to market properly.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And distribution, all those kind of things. And then, I would really like to look into the export market, because I think 2 years ago, I was in Portugal giving a talk about invasive species.
Wow.
And cooking. And I remember talking about wild boar, and a lady stood up and said to me, "It's just ridiculous, you guys aren't eating that." And I was so embarrassed.
Jeez.
And I thought, in other countries, this is a privilege.
Exactly.
And we are just
wasting
it. And now this is my mission. If we can show that the rest of the world want what we have, maybe it will make a difference. So working really hard with our team.
Yeah.
And we have the most incredible team. Really, it's a small team, but they're
shout
very
out.
Passionate.
I met two of them yesterday. Amazing individuals.
Jess, Simo and Aid and Tracy down at the facility, and Tara, Jimmy, Billy.
Amazing.
Just working really hard to, expand and share what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I got an idea for you. I'll plant a seed as I leave you to go get pies. Obviously, Wild Pie is a for-profit business, and you want to grow and you want to expand. You want to get exposure, because that's what grows a business, is exposure with the right people in the right environments. And I think from a Wild Origins Australia, Origins Foundation narrative, I feel like food is the entryway, is the gateway to having conversations that I want to have about, hey, do you actually know what hunting is? Do you actually know where food comes from? Do you actually know that hunting isn't this bad boogeyman that you should be afraid of anymore? And it should be accepted in society. That's my goal in life. Your goal in life is to grow wild pie and make it this amazing thing in Australia and globally. I want to build experiences, and I think food is the experience, where you have this, cool farm table, and you invite influencers, you invite models, you invite members of parliament, you invite editors, writers, whatnots, and you sit 17 people down, and like we're in the field and game booth now, and the first course is a duck course.
Yeah.
Beautiful duck course, right? Just this beautiful, grilled to perfection, medium rare duck with whatever glaze you would put on it. And there's a little postcard that goes with every dish, and it's a description of duck hunting in Victoria and the pressures of duck hunting, and that we have an abundant wildfowl population. And for 5 minutes, Lucas Cook stands up and he tells everyone very succinctly, very passionately, here's what duck hunting actually is. And you're about to eat a beautiful duck that came out of the wild of Victoria. Next course, sambar. Next course, pig. And all of a sudden, you've got these 17 individuals that have reach, that have absolutely just changed their minds, and then they push that message out into their communities and change their minds. And we host that experience in Victoria, we host in New South Wales, we host in Queensland, and we just slowly start knocking down doors.
Yeah, I think the goal is to understand that no one should go hungry and that there's enough food for all.
Agreed.
People, the public, need access to the food that's here, and we need to work on making sure that they have access to it.
And that they understand that it's actually good.
Yeah.
Because people hear venison like, ugh, it's gross. When it's the opposite.
Yeah, just a bit of education, a bit of cooking, a few pies.
A lot of pies. A lot of pies. Joe Barrett, go get your pies out of the oven. Thank you so much for everything.
Robbie, thank
I
you.
appreciate you as a friend and a supporter of what we do, and I look forward to doing more with you.
Thanks for helping us get the word out.
Yeah, 100%.